All right. Damien Schumann, fellow Beach Volleyball World commentator. How you going?
Good, good. Thanks, Kez. Thanks for giving me a call.
Yeah, it's late at night. You've just put kids in bed and
Yeah.
you're sneaking off into the back room to do a quick review of the pools with me. Thanks for that. So I thought I'd bring you on, and obviously, as an Aussie, we can talk about the Aussies in particular, but I thought we'd go through each pool and just give us a little bit of a breakdown of who you think's going to come through the pool and whether you think it's a tough one or an easy one or whatever. So, Paul, let's start with Pool A. Anders Mol, Christian Soren, Norway. We've got Hannibal and Lambius, Uruguay. Dilia and Kradiker from Switzerland, and Heydrich and Jordan also from Switzerland. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's always interesting. I mean, the obvious one's obviously Mol Sorum, Olympic gold medal, et cetera. We don't need to introduce those guys. I think they'll be winning the pool. But again, it's always interesting when you've got two teams from the same country. So always interesting to see two teams who, they train against each other, they battle each other on the Swiss tour, and they've both got big weapons. And it's yeah, it'll be fascinating to see as well. And Kradiger, you never know what you're going to get from him as well. He can beat anybody in the world. And now I've retired, I can say as well, I hated playing against his block more than I did against Evandro or Delhauser or anyone else. So I always enjoy watching him play. And again, Hannibal as well. Hannibal's a player who's just been around forever. Doesn't play on the world tour too much. I had the displeasure of training against him a couple of times, and he just absolutely destroyed me back in the day. So I've always kept a right eye on him on the old the North Seeker or the domestic tours that he plays on as well. So always pops up for a world champ. So it should be an interesting pool.
Yeah, it will be. And a lot of these pools in the first round is going to be about, who's going to come second and third, really, because some of the top seeds, like in this one with Mol and Soren. But, you never know. Anything can happen, right? Okay, Pool B, which is very interesting. So we've got Bormans and de Groot from the Netherlands, who have won 6 medals or something on the tour this year. They're absolutely gunning it. Ryan and Schubert, new combination from Australia. So I want to get your thoughts on them. And then 3 brothers and a cousin from Norway.
Yeah.
You got the 2 Moles together, Marcus and Adrian, and then you've got Matthias Bernston and Hendrik Mol.
Well, I mean, similar to Pool A, there's always interesting when two teams from the same country play against each other. But to have that many 3 family members in the same pool at a World Championships, it's a pretty impressive testament to not only Norway, which has just exploded onto the scene, as one of the best beach volleyball countries almost of all time, considering where they are situated in the world and their access to beaches, ironically. So it's a testament to their country, their federation, the way they train, and it's a testament to that family as well to be producing. There's 4 moles in the draw, which is just pretty extraordinary.
Yeah.
And then of course, Bormans de Groot as well. I mean, they're the big team of that pool again. I mean, they're on top of the pool for a reason as well. But the way Mole and Bernston have been playing as well, from Mole and Bernston, and Bernston in particular, I think, in my opinion, has been the most improved player this year on the world tour as well. He was always there and thereabouts, and would just they'd lose these tight games in the round of 16 or whatever, sort of 21-18s and that sort of stuff, and they've turned that right around now, and they're at the pointy end. And Bernston for me is probably the most improved player in the world, and the way he's playing at the moment is yeah, it's quite scary how well he's siding out, and he's such a fiery competitor. And speaking of fiery competitors as well, of course, Zach Schubert as well. He's made it to the Olympic Games in Paris, and yeah, he's teamed up with a younger player. So I mean, the what would you say, the youthful, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes Ryan will be super nervous in the tournament, but he's got nothing to lose. He doesn't have any baggage, so hopefully he can get over the nerves. And Zach's always got a smile on his face, and he'll be a supportive partner. So you never know. I mean, I'd be tipping Zach and Schubert and Ryan to be making it out of the pool as well. I reckon they'll steal one from Mole and Mole.
Yeah, I think that's obviously their best chance. And it would be cool to see Berntsen and Hendrik Mol kind of come out of the shadow of the
Yeah,
other big Norwegian team in Pool A. But again, if they come out second, then they could be facing them in the next round or third
yeah.
round, or it's going to be crazy. It's really going to be a roll of the dice. Pool C, which some are calling the pool of death. because you've got some pretty amazing players in this pool. You've got obviously Arman and Helvig from Sweden, so Olympic gold medalists. Paul Burnett, Thomas Hodges, who've been doing a great job for Australia. Simon Barbosa, George Wanderley from Brazil, and Renato Lima and Andre Loyola from Brazil.
Yes, well, it's a soccer, it's a football term. Obviously, the pool of death when you come to a big soccer World Cup, and for beach volleyball as well, it's 100% the pool of death. There's Pool L is pretty interesting as well, but Pool C, that is just where you don't want to be. And again, the way it's seeded probably is going to work out with Burnett and Hodges missing out. But having said that, obviously we're a little bit biased here as well, and we both know what Tom and Paul are capable of. So I mean, for Paul, this is one of those moments in his career that it's one of these chances where he really gets to step up on a big stage, and he's relatively inexperienced for how long he's been playing as well. Just because he's been just dominating life, being a dentist and all the rest of it. But this is one of those chances where he can hit as hard as anybody in the world. He's got a jump serve that's a huge weapon. So, and he can hit 2 balls from 3-4 meters off the net. He's super talented. And the trick for Tom and Paul will be, can they maintain that level and consistency throughout a game? Because you know that George and Simon, as well as Andre and Renato, they don't make errors. They don't make any errors. Those obviously Sweden's probably on another level to all 3 of those teams, even though it's not going to be easy. But George and Simon, so Paul and Tom have the tools to beat, I think, George and Simon, as well as Andre and Renato. It's just whether they can stay consistent throughout a match without dropping too many errors. You know what you're going to get from Brazil. They're always pretty special. And I mean, George and Simon as well. I mean, Simon's won a welter event, albeit quite a while ago, with Gutto, and we know what George can do. So, I mean, if they turned around and beat Sweden as well, that wouldn't surprise too many people out there. So, yeah, Pool C, that's definitely the one to watch. Doesn't matter whether it's on centre court or one of the outside courts. I think it's going to draw a pretty big crowd for any of those games.
Yeah, and I actually, looking at the other 3 apart from Sweden, the 3 combinations, they're all new combinations, or they're kind of new combinations at the moment. They know each other. Some of them have played together in the past, but coming together now for the World Championships, it's also going to be whether their teamwork is going to be consistent enough, like you said, knowing each other that well. Yeah. And the Aussies, I mean, for the Aussies, like you played in the Commonwealth Games in 2018. Playing in front of a home crowd in Australia. Not many of us have ever had that opportunity. You had that opportunity. It's pretty incredible. Like, it can send you like off the edge, like into a hole, or it can kind of lift you onto the podium. And for you guys, it obviously lifted you onto the podium. But yeah, how would you describe the difference playing at home to playing overseas?
It's a really interesting point. I mean, it has been talked about a lot within Australian beach volleyball, like playing at home, because we haven't been used to it. And obviously, you guys at the Sydney 2000 games, a lot of people said it was quite a shock, and a few teams have been shocked by it. And it was never actually on court that I had a problem with playing at home. The thing that would drain you from playing at home is just all the extra attention from media and all the extra commitments and all that sort of stuff. And so while it's special that your family and friends get to watch you live, which is so rare for our sport, it's a price to pay. There is a little price to pay for not having to travel. And even at at other tournaments where you have to travel, once you're there, you kind of can do your own thing, and you can be in the zone, and you can keep your head down and concentrate on what needs to be doing. But when you're essentially an ambassador of the tournament by being a home team, it's great for the sport. But for you as an individual, you've just got to be really careful about making sure you get your sleep, soaking it all up. And yeah, it's a balance. And they're surrounded by good coaches and people who have been there before, so they'll have all the advice in the world about managing that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's and that pressure and those extra interviews, it's a privilege. It's a huge privilege as well. So trying to balance the enjoyment of getting some media attention for the sport that you love in Australia, it's pretty special. So it's it's all going to happen. And then if they can just push all that aside and then go out there and just play their best, then they're in with a chance. And when you do something cool at home as well, it's nice having a big crowd sort of get behind you.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of saying it, Damo, that, all of that attention is a real privilege. Did you, were you aware of the noise, the extra noise for you, like the extra cheering? Did it build you up, or were you the type of player that you had to block it out?
I was pretty good at blocking it out most of the time. It was good to have some experiences in sort of Vienna and some big overseas. Like we had Vienna World Champs and playing in Stade and a few of those sorts of places where there is a packed centre court, and they do go pretty. Like if you do something good, they will go. It's pretty loud there as well. So having those experiences put me in pretty good stead for the home crowd and having that noise. But it is really nice once you get over the nerves of the first few points, and then you do something really good, and the crowd
Yeah.
goes extra. It's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
but I mean, just like every game as well. If you're not playing well, then it's not great either. So
Yeah.
it's probably not a great answer to the question, but yeah, I blocked a lot of it out, but it is still very enjoyable playing in front of an Australian crowd.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see how the Aussies, handle that. Just it's going to be really interesting. But obviously, like you said, if you can turn it into something positive, like saying it's a privilege or, feeding off the energy or whatever. I know there's another team that we're going to get to in a minute. I'm pretty sure they're going to feed off the energy. Pool D, the pool where there's absolute giants and some smaller players. We've got Evandro and Arthur from Brazil. We've got Lopez and Mora from Nicaragua. We've got Henning and Wust from Germany and Amieva and Bueno from Argentina.
Well, again, Evandro and Arthur, they've been playing so well lately as well. Everything's just they're looking really solid. Evandro looks back to his devastating best. And I know this is going to sound a little bit silly, but I just think he's been a little bit off the last few years compared to when he was voted best server 4 or 5 years in a row. He won the World Championships in 2017. He's qualified for that Olympics. Well, lots of Olympics now, but in that sort of little run, he was qualifying for everything under the sun, which is always hard as a Brazilian. So, and then I just think he had a couple of years there where he wasn't as devastating at his devastating best. There was a ball change, which I think affected his jump serving ability a little bit, but that's looking better and better now as well. Arthur is coming into his own again. He's just building more and more confidence. He looks like he's enjoying it out there as well. And so anyone who looks like they're enjoying it, you just know there's just been such a stack of work behind that as well, and growth in self-confidence. So really looking for those guys to go pretty deep in this tournament, and I'm sure they will as well. And same for Henning and Wust. I mean, they're sort of new onto the scene as well, so it's a great opportunity for them to get out of the pool as well. And again, I mean, for Argentina, it's a great beach volleyball country as well, and they're right next to Brazil, so I mean, they don't shy away from having to play these sorts of teams either. So I think Henning and Wust and Evandro and Arthur will definitely get out of the pool, and then there'll be a big battle between Nicaragua and Uruguay. Did I say Argentina? Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's all right. It's funny because we don't see some of these teams like Nicaragua and the Argentinian team. Well, we've seen a bit of them, but we don't see a lot of some of these teams that make it through, and they can sometimes cause some damage in some of these pools because they're good volleyball players. They just don't have the money or the time or the support to get out onto the tour. Pool E, we've got Poland, Brill, and Loziak, who seem to be coming back to good form. Wang and Du from China, Freshner and Winter from Germany, and Dressler and Waller from Austria. Really interesting pool, that one.
It is as well. It's been great to see, Dressler and Waller. They've almost become journeymen, playing with lots of different partners as well. And I mean, Dressler kind of looked down and out for a while, and definitely wasn't in the national team. And but again, he's an ultimate professional, Dressler, and he doesn't do anything. He doesn't find himself on any Instagram highlights too often, but he's just going to side out, all day long, putting maximum effort on the block, puts a lot of work in his body as well. Waller is just such an explosive defender as well, and they're sitting third in the pool, so they could easily be taking it up to Lucas Fressner and Winter as well, who burst onto the scene a couple of years ago, and they just probably haven't. It's funny when you burst onto the scene and you sort of, and Winter, they had to kick the door down basically to get back into the sort of German federation, into those top few teams as well, and they did that. And then, of course, as soon as you do that, more people get more footage on you, and they start watching you, and they get a feel for your play. So this year probably haven't been as devastating as they have been in previous years. So. Brill Loziak, of course, they've been there at multiple World Championships and multiple, their resumes as long as just about anybody's in terms of experience as well. So I think they'll be winning the pool. And well, again, China as well, and that's a country we do know in the Asian Federation as well. We haven't seen. I've seen them play a couple of times, and again, they're tall guys. And when the planets align for these tall sort of athletes from China, I mean, they can take it up to anyone as well. So again, it'll just be whether they can maintain that level throughout the game against these super solid teams from Europe who just don't make that many errors.
Yeah, and it may make a difference where they play, whether they play out on court 2 or 3, which is going to be more open to the elements compared to centre court, which is completely closed inside a tennis centre, especially for those teams that haven't had as much experience. Pool F, Cuba, they topped that pool. Aleo and Diaz, who've had a pretty exciting year. We've got a team from Benin, who I haven't heard of before. We've got Portugal, Pedrosa Campos, been doing pretty good. And then our neighbours from New Zealand, O'Day and Fuller.
Yeah, always interesting as well. I mean, I think it'll be such a great test for both Portugal and New Zealand to see how they go against Cuba, who are just absolute weapons. I mean, to have a defender that's 6'9" is unheard of, and the shorter players, the blocker as well. And they're both, Diaz and Aleo, they're just absolute weapons, and it's a joy to watch them play. So if anyone's out there who hasn't seen much beach volleyball before, try and get along to watching the Cubans at the very least do some warm-up hitting. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, I mean, look, Pedrosa and Campos, speaking of competitive, they're one of the most competitive team on the world tour as well. And they're giant killers. They fear nobody. They beat Mol and Sorum not too long ago. They take it up to anybody. They hit a lot of 2 balls. They've got just great skills. Again, another team that makes no errors. And of course, Ben O'Day and Fuller, they're a team that's just super, super solid. And Fuller especially probably doesn't have the experience at that Elite 16 sort of level, at that World Championship level. But again, in a tournament like this, it's probably a good thing. He can just throw caution to the wind and really enjoy himself. And, he'll lean on Ben for that experience about what to do in those big sort of moments. So, yeah, they're definitely a team to watch. And they should be making it out of the pool as well.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Pool G, this is like a team of young guns. You've got the baby Swedes, as they've been named, Anderson, and they probably hate that, Holting Nielsen. They top the pool. And then you've got Hood and Merritt from Australia. Then you've got Rotard and Gautiera from France, and the Bello brothers from England.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating pool there as well. I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing being called baby Swedes when they're that young, and the older Swedes are, Olympic gold medalists, all 5 years older than them as well. So, I mean, to be doing what they're doing in Elite 16 tournaments, consistently making the top 4 is just absolutely silly. And what Raz has done there and found another team that's not just sort of a bit of a, just copying the older guys with some jump setting, some 2-ball hitting and getting, winning a few sets here and there. It's like, any team that hits 2 balls and jump sets, you can tell how good they are as beach volleyballs when they stuff up the first pass. So once they muck up the first pass and they use their normal 3 hits, they're just dominating everybody as well. And then you add on the ball control and the skill to be able to pass it up for 2 and side jump set, and the side jump setting, of course, the next evolution of the whole jump setting 2-ball game as well. To be able to do it that young, as well as play world-class defense, as well as serve tough at the right times, all those sorts of hallmarks of those traditional hallmarks of good beach volleyball teams. And then you sprinkle on, obviously, some really good coaching and some aggressive hand setting. I mean, it's just so impressive as well. But having said that, I mean, this is probably one of 3 pools. So Pool C, Pool G, and probably Pool L are the really, really interesting pools in terms of how even they are. So you've got Gutierrez as well and Rotar, who are, again, as consistent as anything. Gutierrez he's just been... he's probably one of my favorite players to watch technically as well, like with his arm swing, the way he goes about it. It's such a short load. You have absolutely no idea whether he's shooting the ball, hitting the ball hard. And he's got sort of an arm swing that makes him look like a smaller player, but he's quite tall. He's deceptively tall as well, 6'4", maybe 5, something like that. So that's France. I'm just going through every team here. And then you've got the Bellows as well from England, who are just absolutely on fire, careering. They won that Elite 16 event back in Brazil. And they're just playing, they're playing the volleyball that they've always played. and now it's just working. And I don't mean to say that as in it's a fluke, as in they're not hitting the ball particularly harder than they've ever hit it in their lives. They're not hitting sharper angles. They've always had that. But beach volleyball is about making the right decision at the right time. And yeah, I remember having a conversation with one of my old partners, Cedric Legrand, back in the day, for anyone out there watching. And we were watching Steinmetzger actually from America, and we just saw him come in through the middle and knuckle the ball back towards the line, like a short line. And we like looked at each other and we're like, we can do that. Like that's a shot that we can do. But why aren't we, winning World Tour medals or whatever it is? And it's like, well, he did it at the right time in the right context, and that's the art of beach volleyball. And it's kind of something that takes for some of us mere mortals, not like the young Swedes, of course, but for us mere mortals, it takes a little bit of time to know when to do that hit, when to do that shot, when to pull that defensive play. And so that's just something that's been clicking for the Bellows. And I'm sure they won't mind me saying that, but the results are showing it. And look, Hood and Merritt, this is a really exciting team for Australia as well. Two absolute just animals, just really, really athletic, explosive. They can hit the ball as hard as anybody in the world. And it'll just be, again, that the consistency of the passing and the setting and the service errors and those sorts of things for a younger team. And I'll tell you what, that there could be an upset in that pool from the young Australians. Again, I'm probably a little bit biased, but they're at the height. They're at the height they're required to be. It'll just be the consistency of setting and passing and those sorts of little things, and managing those big moments. So fascinating Pool G. One of three really interesting pools for me.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. And I love the consistency thing. And I think most of that comes from confidence, right? And the Bellows, they've gained their confidence by having some really great results. So under pressure, they're confident in themselves in making those right decisions. And so that's where, the Aussies won't have that experience, but at the same time, you just got to back yourself and they'll be in it just to have fun. And that's what they got to remember, right? They've just got to have fun. They've just got to enjoy the atmosphere at home.
Yes, it's I disagree with you slightly there. It's not just about having confidence in yourself, because I've met some really confident people who thought they were really, really good in siding out, and they're hitting at certain heights. And there's technical elements there that are just so hidden in beach volleyball. There's little nuances in timing, little nuances in like how you hold your shoulder when you shoot a certain way. And there's been as you probably know as well, there's just a litany, a graveyard of players who, if you look at all the pools in the World Championships and you look at all the players, there are players out there who have never played World Championships who are more athletic than half of these players. And so, and believe me, I've seen them have confidence in themselves as well. So it's there's these little nuances, which is why we love the game of beach volleyball. These little games of chess that seem to happen. So you're right, confidence is a big thing, but there's these little technical aspects, and for the Bellows as well, just figuring out exactly when to pull those plays, when to hit those balls, when to shoot those balls, when to go for it on two, all those sorts of things. That builds confidence as well. It's not just self-belief. People say it's just self-belief, but it's I've met a lot of people with a lot of self-belief who haven't got anywhere. So there's a lot of other things needed.
Fascinating. You can disagree with me anytime. I love it. I love it. Okay, so Pool H. Well, this is another really interesting pool because there's three incredible teams.
You're right. This is the fourth interesting pool. Sorry, I forgot about Pool H. Never forget about Pool H.
Yeah, Peruzic and Schweiner from the Czech Republic, so reigning world champions. You've got Togo. Yeah, they're really gonna struggle, because then you've got Plavins and Fokarots who are dominating the young and the old from Latvia, and then Partain and Benesh from the USA, who have been up and down and up again. And where are they at the moment? Who knows?
It's kind of like for Togo as well. It's just one of those moments where they can purely just enjoy playing the best players in the world, and Olympic medalists, World Championship medalists in the pool. An Olympic team from USA who that's to make the USA coming from Olympics or Brazil is a little bit extra special as well. So for Togo, that's just so cool. Anytime they get a block, anytime they get a side out, anytime they get a dig, it's just going to be an absolute. So there's other teams that have qualified through like national confederation. Not national, through zonal confederations and stuff like that, who might be under a pressure thinking, okay, this is our game. Like this is the one we have to win to get out, and they still probably have a low chance of doing that. But for Togo as well, I don't think there's much of a chance at all. And so hopefully that's more enjoyable, that they just get to throw the kitchen sink and really enjoy the experience, which is cool. So for the other three teams as well, um, Perisic-Schweiner, they could just get ready to go again at the World Championships. They've just been a little bit quieter than what we've probably been used to, but again, they're one of the most, if not the most consistent team in the world in terms of not making any errors. I've commentated their matches sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to keep a little bit of a count of teams' errors, but it's not hard with them. They made one error for an entire match in 42 minutes of Elite 16 beach volleyball. I think it was actually against Nicolaides and Karaher from memory, but just extraordinary. They're an extraordinary team. They play simple, sort of a little bit old school volleyball, up and down, run through the middle, and they're great to watch. And speaking of people who are great to watch, probably my favorite player in the world in Plavins as well. Just an absolute master of timing, hitting the ball on the way up, just shooting the high line, just as, sides out, as, as honest as the day is long, just pushes it off just a flat hand. Like, it's just so good to watch. And he's, after I think he's 22 seasons on the World Tour, he's managed to find somebody who's 20, I think he's 20 maybe, Fox, who's just an absolute physical weapon who can handle himself. Such a mature player at such a young age to sort of match Plavin's competitiveness, I suppose, is the way to describe that. And then just as you get over those two teams in the Czech Republic and Latvia, you've got Partain and Benish, who, if there was a record for qualifying for the Olympics quicker than anybody else, they probably did it, just bursting onto the scene. They played a few tournaments here and there, and everybody had been saying, oh, there's this young kid, Miles Partain from California, who's not bad. And you're like, yeah, cool. But there's a lot of that from America as well. And then you've actually got to step out on the World Tour, and he did it better than almost anybody ever has. And he stepped out, and they basically qualified for the Olympics in a month, winning those. They won Stade and they won two other tournaments close by, and that was about it. They were qualified for the Olympics in maybe 6 weeks, which was just unbelievable. So, I mean, again, they haven't been playing their best, and I'm sure they'd be, and again, they burst onto the scene. People get used to them. They get a little bit more footage. They get some plans in place. Other teams see what works against the team like that. Like, when do they like hitting their two balls? What sort of zones do they each like hitting two balls into? When do they jump set? What looks like a fake? All these little bits of information that you sort of input into your little defensive computers as well. And then when do you pull those moves? And the game of chess, that's what I love about beach volleyball as well. So, and they need to keep evolving as well. They've got to keep changing what they're doing, and they've been working on some stuff, and we've been seeing little cracks, little daylights of them resurging. And what better tournament to do it than the World Championships?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting if there's going to be any teams that have been hiding anything, any new things that are coming out, and then they're going to break them out at the World Champs. Any new strategies? We may not even know that they're doing it, but yeah, that particular pool has got three of the best defenders in the world, and yeah, some pretty incredible blockers. So I wouldn't like to be in that pool. Pool I. So a change up. The USA coming in at the last minute. Chalk and Shaw, they'd be pretty happy, but they would have got on a plane. Or they're probably getting on a plane very soon. Pearson Potts from Australia, they got their work cut out for them. And Buttinger and Evans from the USA as well. And then you've got Peninga and Immers from Netherlands. So a very tough pool.
Yeah, Ruben Peninga and Martin Immers as well is they're new this year, of course, after they teamed up after the Olympics, and it's they've just been threatening as well. Immers as well, we know what a weapon he is, so it's a really big moment for Peninga as well. He probably hasn't played up to the level that Immers is probably used to in terms of results and stuff like that. So what a chance for Peninga to just really establish himself as one of those top Dutch teams at a big tournament. Evans and Buttinger, I think, again, they've been playing really, really solid beach volleyball. And at big tournaments like this, when teams are quite nervy, again, another team that has a really solid defensive structure. They don't make many errors. And whether it was going to be the Netherlands as that other team or Chalk and Shaw that have come in, maybe they're probably a little bit happier that it's Chalk and Shaw. They probably know those guys a little bit better, and they've probably just had the wood on them in some of their domestic tournaments lately. So I think Evans and Buttinger will be pretty happy with how Pool I's worked out. Still will be tight, but I think Team USA will get over the top of the other teams in Pool I. And again, for Potts and Pearce, well, They're another young Australian team with nothing to lose. They won an Asian Championships, the youngest team ever to win an Asian Championships, I believe. And so they've got the weapons. They've got world class weapons. It's just going to be whether, as a younger team from Australia who haven't played too many of these teams that are super consistent at the top level. It'll just be if they can keep the errors down, they can beat anyone in the world.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's going to be a good one to watch, those guys up against the good guys in that pool. Pool J, one more amazing team to top that pool who've been having a great year, Ahmed and Sharif from Qatar. They've got the second Cuban team, Gonzalez and Baranas. Then the youngsters, Tim Berger and Timo Hammerberg from Austria, who are pretty exciting, and Friedli and Hausner from Switzerland.
Yes, well, I mean, Sharif and Tijan, they're the informed team in the world at the moment. They've won so many medals back to back, and they're back to their explosive best. It's they're a fiery team. They're fun to watch, and they're looking as dynamic as they have ever been, basically. And again, the team that's had a little bit of lull, they're peaking at the right time, and they might just find themselves at the pointy end. It's hard to pick who's going to win the tournaments as well. You've always got your obvious ones like Sweden and Mole and Sorum and stuff like that. And I think I haven't looked at the betting odds actually, but I think Sharif and Tijan will be right up there, and they're probably ready for a huge breakthrough win at one of these big tournaments like the World Champs or the Olympics, I think. And then the other teams as well. Well, any team that comes out of Cuba, you got to be scared. You've just got to be really scared. Cuba has this wonderful history of just bursting onto the scene and causing absolute havoc. Whether it's an Olympic Games, they don't play at all. They rock up to a Continental Cup, they win it. They make it deep into an Olympic Games from out of nowhere, and then they go on. Diaz and Alayo, of course, playing a lot more consistently now. But tell you what, any team that comes out of Cuba, you've got to be worried. And for Austria and Switzerland, really solid European teams. They fear no. If you play in Europe, you fear nobody. You play a certain way, so should be a pretty even pool. But I think Cuba will miss out.
Yeah. Pool K, you've got another brother combination, the Capagrossos from Argentina. You've got Mozambique, and then Olympic silver medalists Ehlers and Wickler from Germany, who've been pretty quiet this year, but I think they're starting to maybe come back at the right time. And Schachter and Pickett from Canada.
Yes, it's the Capagrossos are just one of the great stories. Since teaming up, it's always cool to see brothers play with each other. But yeah, the Capagrossos have just gone from strength to strength, and I don't think anyone really tipped just how good this team would be. So it's just been an absolute joy to watch them at their explosive best. And speaking of explosive best as well, Wickler is just starting to. You just get the feeling you seeing a little bit more fire from him. Doesn't mind. I mean, one of the friendliest guys you're ever likely to meet on the tour, and he's absolutely lovely. But if something goes wrong in terms of the refereeing or the other team, he's just starting to get fired up again, which I like to see from him. He seems to play better when he's fired up, and Wickler as well. Oh, sorry, Nils Ehlers. He's looking really, really solid as well. So that's one of those teams that's peaking at the right time, and I think they're really set to sort of get themselves back into that form that found them into that Olympic gold medal match just over a year ago now. So I think Ehlers and Wickler will win Pool K, but I mean Schachter as well. It's great for Pickett as well. It's going to be one of his first real big opportunities at one of these big tournaments. So always exciting to see what he'll be able to do. Schachter's been there a million times before. Love watching him play. Really similar to for mine is Gutierrez and Schachter in terms of just those smooth arm swing as well. Have absolutely no idea where he's going, and people haven't served him almost his whole career. So you very rarely get to see him hit. So so he's a great player. So you can never count them out as well. So I mean, if Schachter and Pickett beat Ehlers and Wickler or Argentina, it would never surprise me. But the way that pool's set up, Argentina, Germany, Canada, I think that's how it'll end up.
And then our last pool with our final Aussie team, Karika and Nicolaitis from Australia. You've got Morocco, you've got Bazaro and I from France, and Grimoltz from Chile.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Grimolts as well. They're a team that consistently does incredible things, and then they always find themselves having to qualify through the Continental Cup at the last second. They always miss out on the cup by not too much, not always, of course, but they've consistently missed out, had to go through the Continental Cup, and they always find a way through in big pressure situations. And so for them to be seated third in the pool is quite worrying for everybody else in the pool, I think. So it's been great to see Kelvin and Bassarou as well from France. Again, a fairly new team that's playing really, really well, consistent volleyball, and really explosive as well. Kelvin's just burst onto the scene. He's got probably the fastest arm in the world. It's quite a long arm swing, but it accelerates just faster than you think. So he's causing all sorts of problems for blockers, and it's not a big blocking pool as such. So Carragher, of course, like just super, super solid, great timing, good form, deceptively tall. And same with the Grimold, like Marco as well. Not huge blockers, but very strong blockers. So I mean, if Kelvin gets a hold of them, look out. So fascinating pool that I have absolutely no tip for, because both Australia, France, and the Grimolds are all pretty evenly matched. So that could come down to point percentage very, very easily. And Nicolaides and Carragher, they're Australia's best chance. I think with just how the pools have ended up to make it out of the pools. And so yeah, it'll be really cool. And look, they've had some big tournaments now. They've been to Olympic Games. They've won a Continental Cup. They've been super, super solid this year. Lots of Elite 16 results, quarterfinals, etc., top 10 results. So they're probably not going to have the nerves that some of the others will, even though it will be a big home event for them and they're the number one team. So a little bit of extra media pressure. But I think once the games start, they'll settle in, and they've now got the experience. And if they do make it out of the pool, and look out.
Yeah, incredible. I actually 100% agree with you there about Isaac and Mark. If any Australian team's going to handle it, they are, and they're going to ride it. They'll ride that wave. We hope they all do. There's 9 Aussie teams, which is pretty exciting. It's a record for our country to be hosting this, and then obviously having so many teams. So thanks for all your insights. I've got one more question for you. So the big question is, who do you think is going to top the podium? Who's your top 3 or your top 4?
Yeah, it's tough. I want to say Qatar, just based on all the or just based on form. On form, I think Qatar would probably get there. I mean, if Armin and Helvig as well just get their game going, nobody in the world can stop them. But teams getting better at serving them in more difficult positions. But again, the other really big field, Mol and Sorum are just for me, they're probably just a little bit annoyed at all these other teams that are just starting to I mean, there was a period there where they looked like they were going to threaten to be the greatest team that's ever played beach volleyball, and they've just probably been knocked off that. In the men's side as well, no team has ever won 2 Olympic gold medals. The women's side, of course, that's happened, so it's kind of undisputed. But the men's side, for who the greatest team of all time is still constantly up for debate. And Ricardo and Emmanuel, Dalhouser, Rogers, and they still only won one Olympic gold medal. So Mol and Sorum, were they going to be the first team to do it? I thought they might be, and then from out of nowhere, Sweden just came in and just took the world by storm. So I just think that would have, again, the 2 of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet in the world, volleyball or not volleyball, Mol and Sorum. But just think the way things have been going might just annoy them a little bit, and they might just want to be, and with Karen Buller coaching them as well, they might be looking to make a really big statement in Adelaide.
And who do you think is going to join them on the podium?
Probably the other 2 teams I mentioned. So Sweden and Qatar, I reckon.
I reckon there might be a US team that gets in that top 4. It's all going to see how it all kind of plays out.
I know.
Who's going to match
hard.
up? As
soon as there's one upset, throws the whole thing into chaos, which is great.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and that's why everyone should get down there and watch it. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be in your hometown, my hometown, or your hometown now. I know you're originally from Victoria, but you're now settled in South Australia. So thanks, Damo. It's been a pleasure. See you there.
Thanks heaps, Kerri.
See you there.